what's going on? After some technical difficulty, we are live with the voice of the Bengals, Dan Hoard. But first, if you found the show, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I'm up to 2,128 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, like I always say, and you haven't subscribed to my channel, why not? Please do so. Please go to Bengals Talk with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats. So if you got something you want to ask Dan or you just want to support the show, give me a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it. And you know, as always, I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave. It's so beautiful in here. The Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And you know what? I wear it every single day. Dan seen me wear it. I wear them every day. Jackpot Joey. And if you guys want any of the hats, which I got the Super Bowl hat on today, but the shirts, hats, banners, we got the beer at Brick Brewery. You don't get the beer at Brick Brewery. You get the merchandise at jackpotjoey9.com. Portions of the proceed of all this stuff go to the Joe Burrow Hunger Relief Fund and the Joe Burrow Fund. Brick Brewery has the beer. Go check that out. Also, betting is legal in the great state of Ohio. If you haven't done it yet, sign up with Betfred Sports. Go make some money. And let's get to this thing. He's so kind to come on. He's worked with me to try to get the sound situation figured out. So let's get to it. It's Dan Hoard. Hey, Dan, what's going on, man?
So my apologies for the technical difficulty. They were on my end. I don't know why. For some reason, my laptop was not picking up your audio. So you're getting me instead on an iPad. And I can't quite figure out how to stand to make this look right. And the lighting's not as good and the microphone's not as good. But we'll press on.
Hey, it's all good, man. This is live. You say when I growing up doing radio, live radio, but this is live YouTube TV. So this is we get what we get. So either way, I appreciate you coming on and working with me, trying to get the sound figured out. So you look great, by the way.
Thank you.
So you just got back. You were down at the NFL Combine. I was down there Sunday. I'm going to try to get on Saturday next year for the quarterbacks. But what was your thoughts of what you saw down there and the prospects for some of the players the Bengals might get?
Well, unfortunately, Jeff, in my case, I was only there for 2 days. I got there Friday. I stayed Saturday. I had to come back since UC had a basketball game on Sunday, and I did a basketball game the Wednesday before I traveled to Indianapolis. So unfortunately, I wasn't there for as long as I would have liked to be. I was there for the cornerbacks. I think that's a very important position in this draft for Cincinnati. I was impressed by that crop. A lot of guys ran sub 4.4 40s, including a few that I think might be available to the Bengals at number 28. And I would not be the least bit surprised if that's the way they go, especially if they're able to re-sign, one of their free agent tight ends, most notably Hayden Hurst.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think the key moves to the offseason, I don't really think the Bengals are really going to be able to know what they're going to be able to do in the draft and for me, it's two positions. One, I want to re-sign Hayden Hurst. Two, I love L. Collins, but LC most likely will not be ready for the beginning of the season. So I would nothing against Akeem Adeniji or Jackson Carman or any of that stuff. We want to win a Super Bowl. We need to get off to a good start. We need to start out 5-0, 3-0, get that number one seed so Kansas City comes to the jungle and plays, So I would like to sign a right tackle is who I like. And I like Illuminor. And I know this is probably a pipe dream, but since the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to franchise tag their tight end there, and his name slips my mind right now.
Evan Ingram.
Thank you. So the right tackle is a free agent. Now you're looking at probably $15 million. I don't know if that's in the budget, but if you cut Joe Mixon, maybe L. Collins, I don't know. You might be able to fit it in there. But where are you at as far as the free agency goes with the Bengals? Are they going to make a big splash like I like them to, or is it going to be more of a guy like Illuminori out of Vegas?
I think it's the latter. I think a guy like Illuminor would make sense. Now, keep in mind with him, he had a good year according to Pro Football Focus. I haven't studied tape of him or anything like that, but he got decent grades from Pro Football Focus. But it's a one-year sample size. He does not have a track record before that. I think a healthy L. Collins is probably better than he is. I don't think the Bengals are going to make a Collins move quickly. I think they'll probably see how his rehab is coming along. It was an ACL on Christmas Eve, so it's going to be touch and go. as to whether he's ready to go for the start of the season. But if he's making progress and they're getting reports from the medical staff that, you know what, he should be fine by week 3 or 4, maybe they elect to go with that. I will say this. I don't think it's a good tackle draft.
Yeah.
So for anybody thinking they can get the right tackle for the present, you know, somebody who can start from day one this year, I don't think that guy is there at number 28 this year. So I do think that makes it more likely that they will sign an affordable free agent that could hold down the fort at right tackle if LC is not good to go.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I mean, either Juwan Jones out of Ohio State's in there. He might be one that could be there at 28, but again, is he a plug and play guy? And again, I want this to be an emphasis for the Bengals. I think it's going to be, because the way the season played out is to get off to a good start. And like I said, you have to have guys that you know that you can count on. And like you said, I completely agree with you that I don't think Liddell he's going to be a Bengal until they either have to cut him or they know he's going to be okay, because the way his contract is structured, if he doesn't play, he doesn't get paid. Is that correct on that? Am I right on how that contract is structured?
Well, a big chunk of it, yes.
Okay.
His contract was heavily incentivized for games played.
Right.
Because he had an injury history before they signed him last year. So that was a major part of that deal. And obviously, by and large, it worked out fine for him last year. He started 15 games. I thought he played reasonably well after the first few weeks. Not as well as he did in his heyday with the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think, unfortunately, he's going to be that player again in the NFL. But I did think, probably by the midway point of the season, the Bengals had a top third in the NFL offensive line. And realistically, that's probably all they need with Joe Burrow and the skill position talent they have. I'm glad you brought up Jones from Ohio State. For people that don't know about him, he's a giant, 380 pounds. There were times that they say he might have topped 400 pounds during his time at Ohio State. I talked to an offensive line expert that I trust at the combine, and he said, technique's not very good, needs a lot of coaching, but in some cases it doesn't matter because he is just so gigantic, so tall, so huge. His arms are so long that even doing everything wrong, he can still often get his guy blocked. Now, do you want that guy as your starting right tackle on a Super Bowl contender? Probably not. But if you could get him in the second or third round and plan for the future with a guy like that, maybe.
Well, that's the thing too. Is Dan, we have to improve the depth on the offensive line. Now, we all love the way they played. Jackson, I give credit to Jackson Harmon. I do. I think he improved. I think Adeniji played really good. But then once you went from Buffalo, who they didn't have the pass rush that Kansas City does. And you can tell the difference in between the two games there. And unfortunately, the last 2 years are the reason we haven't won the Super Bowl is come down to our offensive line depth, guys getting injured. I mean, back-to-back years, our rack tackle goes down. So that's another thing where Juwan Jones, you get him in the second, third round if he's there, and you sign somebody just like we talked about Illuminor, and you wait and see how L is. That's depth right there. That's more depth than I think we had in the last 2 years, to be honest, if they go that route. And I think that's very doable.
I think it's important. The depth this past year was better than the previous year. Now let's make sure that it's even better this coming year. And I think that's doable. Obviously, the signings of Karras and Kappa worked out well. Those guys will be back. Cordell Volson was pretty good and should be better. Jonah Williams is going to be the left tackle for at least one more year. So they're in decent shape in 4 out of the 5 spots. If LC is not ready to go for the start of the season, or, if they made the decision to let him go, I do think they would go the veteran free agent route. It wouldn't be a pricey signing, I don't think. There are just too many mouths to feed right now, beginning with Joe Burrow. But I do think that there'll be somebody out there that they would be confident enough that could do a solid job for a couple of years as an affordable free agent.
Now let's go around to the tight end position, because this is one that we have to address. We're going to have to address it in the draft. I mean, they're not going to. Well, they could sign Wilcox. They could sign Hayden Hurst back, which I hope they do. They still have to get another one, I think. And we didn't have enough last year. Now, me, myself included, would love Michael Mayer, but I won't say Cincinnati kids over in Northern Kentucky. But when you see Darnell Washington, as big as that boy is, and he made that unbelievable catch in the NFL Combine, that makes you go, ooh. I mean, I'm fine with either one of them. And with it being a big tight end draft class, you might be able to get a good one. Maybe not those two, but get one in the second or third round. Where are you at as far as the Bengals and the tight end situation?
I think they will definitely draft one, maybe more than one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the year they drafted C.J. Uzama, he was actually the second tight end they took that year. Tyler Kroft was the first.
Right.
It wouldn't shock me to see them use a couple of picks, especially if they move down at some point and pick up an extra pick. I could see multiple tight ends, but I think it's virtually guaranteed they will draft at least one because this year's tight end crop is so good and so deep. And when you talk about a guy like Josh Wiley,
yes,
we know Josh is a really good player.
You know, I want him. I'm a Bearcat fan. I would love Wiley to be a Bengal.
I would like it too because I love Josh Wiley, and I think he will be a very good NFL player. But you know, he ran fast enough. He ran in the 4.6s at the combine. Now he lost some weight to try to run a fast time. He'll put some weight back on when he's, in an NFL camp and probably play in the 250s. But the thing about Josh is, I think under normal circumstances in another year, he would almost certainly be like a top 3-round draft pick.
Right.
You might be able to get him in round 4 or who knows, even round 5, just because there are so many tight ends this year. You mentioned Washington and Mayer. They might not be the top tight end pick. Dalton Kincaid from Utah is the guy that I heard that got the most buzz.
Yes, he did.
In Indianapolis. Now, he didn't test at the combine because he's coming back from an injury. But people, make comparisons to Travis Kelce, not as good, but a great receiving weapon at that position. So will they take one in the first round? If they re-sign Hayden Hurst, probably not. If they don't, maybe. And considering that Michael Mayer ran in the 4.7s at the combine, I don't think it's completely out of the question that he could slide to number 28. And if they don't take Hurst and he's there, they would certainly be tempted.
Right. And that's my whole point right there, Dan. If we sign Hayden Hurst and we get, just say Illuminori, I keep saying him, we get those two, then that to me opens up 28. They don't have to go draft a player. We don't have to try to reach for somebody, like I hate to say it, but like Billy Price, the year we got him. Those are the things that they could go with whatever the best player available is at tight end, at tackle, or at DB. Like I said, they could get a DB because that's the thing. Secondary, you got Cheetah Bay, who I think has been an absolute steal in free agency. I mean, he's been the number one DB for cornerback for us. You are most likely Jesse Bates, most likely not coming back. Von Bell, we hope's coming back. You got Eli Apple. I know some Bengals fans are like, time for him to go, but I keep saying if Eli's your fourth, or you're fine. But with all that up in the air, you do have to draft somebody in the secondary for I just call them all DBs because you need safeties and cornerbacks.
I honestly think taking a cornerback in the first round is the most likely scenario. Now, that's me saying it. I haven't, picked up that vibe necessarily from anybody with a franchise. But if you look at the Bengals' history, they have historically felt that to get elite cornerbacks, you have to draft them high. Now, they took one in the second round last year in Cam Taylor-Britt, so it's not like they've ignored the position. But with Cheeto coming back from a torn ACL, with the possibility that Eli won't be back, he is a free agent, with Cam Taylor-Britt only having 1 year of experience under his belt, I think the stars kind of align for a really strong possibility of cornerback being the pick at number 28, and I do think there are going to be some really good ones there. It sounds like it's a good cornerback draft. I mentioned the testing on Saturday. A lot of guys ran great times. So I'm going to be doing a lot of studying of this cornerback crop because I think that's a very strong possibility.
So I know you've gotten into doing the draft simulators or whatever. I know you said that on your last Bengals podcast. You had or Bengals booth podcast. You had Dane Brugler on there, and I think that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard a podcast. Have these draft guys actually do a mock draft on your podcast. I thought that was so cool.
Thank you.
How did we brought up to Dane Brugler or other guys you're going to have? How did they take it? They're like, oh, I don't know if I want to, or oh yeah, I'm down.
So that's a great question. And honestly, that was a question that I had in my own mind when I went to Indianapolis. Here's the deal, Jeff. Going into this combine, I have not done that much draft prep yet. It's college basketball season. I'm obviously doing a couple of UC games every week. I did Xavier Providence last week on national radio, which was an awesome opportunity for me. So my draft study, my hardcore draft study is still to come. I've done some, but I can't name 6 cornerbacks. I
Right.
can't name 8 wide receivers. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
At
Oh,
some
I got
point,
you.
I'll be able to,
Yeah.
but I'm not there yet. So I'm going to Indianapolis, and I'm thinking, I can interview these draft gurus. I've done that in the past, but I really don't feel comfortable with my own knowledge to ask informed questions. So what can I do that will be interesting, be productive, be good content for my podcast? And I love these mock draft simulators. I think they're
me too.
fun. And doing them, I think, helps you understand the pool of guys that are likely to be there when the Bengals are on the clock.
Right.
So I thought, you know what? Maybe it would be fun to see if these prominent draft gurus would sit in front of my laptop and do a mock draft simulator, just like you and I do
Right.
every few weeks leading up to the draft. So the first person I asked was Charles Davis from CBS. He's like, yeah, that sounds fun. I'll do it. And I asked Dane Brugler. Then I asked, I wound up doing it with about 5 or 6 guys. I'll trot that out, every week. I do one podcast per week leading up to the draft. So you'll be hearing these mock draft simulators from
awesome.
the top draft gurus in the weeks to come. And the results are pretty interesting. Now, Dane Brugler got an A- from Pro Football Focus for his draft.
Yep.
Other guys did not fare nearly as well. So you hear a little bit of their grumpiness, when the grade is like a D- or something like that. So it was pretty amusing, but everybody that did it seemed to enjoy it, and nobody turned me down. So I appreciate the fact that they were willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, no, I thought it was such an interesting concept to do that, because they're always, they're experts and stuff. So I was like, all right, well, go ahead and do it and, see what happens. Because, I mean, none of us know which way the draft's going to go. I mean, for me, like the draft, it'd be great in the Bengals' favor if all the quarterbacks go early, which I think there's a good shot that they'll push more guys back for the Bengals, but who knows what's going to happen. Now, one other interesting thing that happened at the beginning of the combine week, Duke Tobin came out like, a gangster. Go get your own wide receiver. I'm not in the business to make other teams better. I'm in the business to make the Bengals better. I love that, because I'm so tired of seeing T. Higgins mocked to this team, T. Higgins mocked to that team. T's not going anywhere, at least not anytime soon. What do you think that statement meant for the Bengals and just for T. Higgins to hear that?
Well, it meant that the Bengals are going to try to win the Super Bowl this year, and T. Higgins gives them the best chance of winning the Super Bowl. Might it mean losing T. Higgins down the road? Yeah, unfortunately it might, but they're certainly going to try to extend him if they can. And even if they can't, they would rather keep this group together for at least one more year and try to win the Super Bowl. Now, in T's case, they would also have potentially the opportunity to franchise tag him at the end of this year. So, they've got the ability to hold on to him for at least a couple more years if they want to. But I had tweeted that out several weeks ago, saying all of this trade talk with T. Higgins is ridiculous, because I knew that the Bengals were not going to trade him when they're this close to going back to the Super Bowl. They were within 2 minutes of winning it 2 years ago. They had the ball with 2.5 minutes to go in a tie game in Kansas City this year. They're not going to break up the band when they're this close. And there are people out there that'll say, well, they'd be better off to trade him and try to get first-round draft picks. Maybe, but that's not what they're going to do.
No.
They want this offense together for as long as they can keep it together, and they certainly haven't ruled out the possibility of trying to extend T if he's willing.
Right. Now, one thing cracks me up is they're going to give us crap about that, but then the Rams, who traded every freaking draft pick that they have, that's great. The Rams did that, so they're all in. Well, that's what the Bengals are doing. They're going all in to at least try to get at least one Lombardi, which I think we're going to get multiple ones, but we'll see. Either way, I love the move. 20 minutes. You said you got to go. I'm at 20 minutes, a little over that. You got your podcast. You got UC basketball. Anything else you want to plug before I let you go, Dan?
No need to plug, but I appreciate you having me on. I see those beer cans over your shoulder. I want to thank you for hooking me up with a nice supply during the course of this season of Jackpot Joey beer. It's good stuff for people that haven't tried it. So I can definitely sing the praises of that brew.
Hey, I appreciate it. Dora, I'll get you some more this year when the football season starts, because the production's kind of slow right now. We're waiting to crank back up in the summertime. But Dan, it's always a pleasure. I appreciate you. Hey, you're going to see me at practice and up on the bridge, so I'll say hi.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Who day? All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Dan is an awesome guy. We are so blessed to have him as the Bengals and Bearcats radio announcer. He is one of the best. I mean, I wanted to get into. He said he did a national broadcast. I want to go. You're not going to leave us, are you? Which I hope he doesn't. But yeah, I absolutely love Dan Hoard. I'm so happy he's able to jump on the show with me. So anyway, we got a couple more minutes. I can hang out here and chat with you guys. If you got some questions for me, like I said, I went to the NFL Combine, and I actually got to meet. I looked his name. I forgot his name. I did look it up though. But it was the running back, his father out of Tulsa, and I got to meet him there this weekend, and it was pretty cool. Now, going there to the NFL draft, or excuse me, the Combine next year, I want to go. I told Dan I want to go Saturday night when the quarterbacks and wide receivers are playing, because I think that's the best time to go. I mean, you can see all the quarterbacks show off their guns and their arms, and the wide receivers show off their time and all the great catches. But it was interesting watching the offensive line. Now, Dwan Jones, who we talked about, I saw the man run. He didn't move. He's not running a 4.4, but he was moving. That dude is huge. I mean, he's got to be one of the biggest damn human beings I've seen in my life. So I would have no problem if the Bengals would draft him. I just want them to fix the tight end, and I want a right tackle. So we'll see. Yeah, I do, Greg. I do. The other one from Tennessee, Dwayne Wright, something like that. I like him too. I know that's another one that Goodberry had on there. So we'll see. Stranger says, what do you got here? So Ice, are you sold on Zach Kuntz yet? I like Zach Kuntz, the tight end. Yeah. I like I said, there's a lot of tight ends in this draft. So I love Michael Mayer. He's a local kid. I know Pork Chop's out there wants Dwan Washington. I like those to be my top two. But like Dan said, I would not be surprised if, like he's saying, if we take a cornerback, a DB, because we're going to need it. And if you get a right tackle and you sign Hayden Hurst, you might be able to get some of these guys to slide back, because if Dwan Jones is there at 60, which I'd be kind of surprised if he is not, I'm jumping on that because he's kind of a project. But if you get him to sit behind, Illuminori or Lael, and he can learn from them, and maybe next year he can take over, I'm good with that. But yeah, Darnell Wright. There you go. Right, you're right, Pork Chop. Get it up there. Darnell Wright. I know you love Darnell Wright. I'm with you, Pork Chop. I think he's great. But we got to see, because, like I said, there's a lot of tight ends in this class. So you could get if you sign Hayden Hurst, you can get another tight end in the second, third round. That's going to be good. And you got Wilcox. You need one more at least. And like Dan said, they might draft two. Who knows? I didn't even get into the running back situation or mixing or any of that, because they said he only gave me 20 minutes. So I want to make sure I'm out when he says 20 minutes, because I want him to come back on again. So we'll see. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I want to keep Von Bell too. I hope they do, but when Trags is on the show last week, it kind of scared me. Trags thinking he might get $10 million. I don't know if the Bengals are going to pay him $10 million, but we'll see. Let's see here. What do you guys got? Stranger. I love round one, Keely Ringo. Second round, Mozzie Smith. Third round, Zach Coates. I'm good. Let's see, Mozzie Smith, I'm good with. Kyle Ring, I don't think I know. I have to look that. I probably do, but the name doesn't ring a bell. We let Reggie Nelson go. Don't let Von. Well, Reggie Nelson was kind of long in the tooth. We let him go. Who did we replace him with? I cannot remember. I think it might have been Jesse Bates, to be honest. I don't remember. Maddie's in here. Cheerleaders. All right, Maddie. We're not discussing cheerleaders. I don't know what you mean by that. But anyway, so interesting news today of NFL. Derek Carr is going to go sign with New Orleans. Danny Dimes, does he get 40 to 45 million? If he does, what's that mean for Joe Burrow? I think he's going to get it. Well, even if they franchise tag him, I think he's up to closer to 50. So they're going to pay him even more money. That's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing is structured with the quarterbacks. We'll see. Stranger here. Ringo is a cornerback from Georgia, ran a 4.36. Ooh, 4.36. That's good. I think I know a price. I thought I watched almost the whole combine. It's just Ringo star. That should, make a memory for me. Let's see here. Pork chop. I'd be mad if they took Clancy or an elite edge guy in round 1. I think it's more. I don't know. Everybody keeps saying edge. I think it's more of getting a 3-tech. I think they're more worried about that, to be honest. We need to replace Larry O still. That way you can keep BJ Hill fresh. So that's where I think they're at. But what do I know? Let's see. That'd be funny as hell. He's going to be Danny Piron against next year. I don't know what you mean by that, Hunter. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Tell your friends, stay in there about Sports Strawberry Ice. I think I want to get the heck up on out of here. By the way, if you guys missed Bengals and Brews, I did. I just got done watching it because I was at the combine. Go watch it. Bengals and Brews. They were on Sunday at 3:30. It doesn't matter. Go on YouTube. You can watch it. They had Marcus Bailey on there. Great interview. Great dude. Marcus Bailey was out there drinking his own beer. It was awesome. Make sure you go check that out. And Rally, if they're on right now, if you guys are done watching me, go watch Rally. But let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And of course, I appreciate every single one of them. They are Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Radical Reds, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar. And then you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Turnipole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I'll be pulling a sound off later on tonight. So if you missed any of the conversation I had with Dan Hoard, check it out. It's on BPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. YouTubers, we're at 2,126. Is that right? 26? Or I thought it was 28. It's 26. I think it's 28. I think I wrote the number down wrong. I think it's 28. Anyway, either way, appreciate you guys for supporting the show. It was a blast having Dan Hoard on there. I appreciate you guys. Tomorrow, we got Blake. I want to say Blake Jew. Parker Blake. You guys got your names too close there. Parker Blake will be on tomorrow. We'll be talking about the big uglies, offensive line group. We're going to talk about this a lot. We got to figure out what the Bengals are going to do. Very, very close. I think tomorrow, 4 o'clock, is the NFL tag deadline. So, Ratbirds, I know you're tagging Lamar, but how are you tagging him? I think they're tagging him so nobody else can touch him. So, that's my opinion there. We'll find out tomorrow. I think it's at 4 o'clock. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black, and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, Houday, we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Houday, when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every game day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tiger stripe the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin' Houday, time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Houday in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes be tatted on the jungle when we flex that Houday muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. got a move rockin' on? Now who wanna move?